Next up is our block center, location, accessibility, and noise level. Right next to the kitchen, which is the noisiest center in the classroom. So really, we have contained noise to this corner of the classroom, which is amazing because if you are working in small group, in the other side of the classroom, you're not going to hear a lot of it, and it's really going to kind of allow you to ignore that. Plus, students are not going to be as distracted when they're working with you on the other corner, because really there's a lot of distance between the students playing here in the noisy section and the students working with you at the quiet section. This is our new and improved block center. Last year we had all the blocks in the main whole group instruction area, but we really thought about what that meant for access, right? So if I'm playing with the blocks or with the trains, or if I'm building something and I'm not finished today, I can't continue this tomorrow. And what we want our kids to do is to have multi-day, multi-level, multi-sensory experiences. So what allows us to do this corner is that we are able to now build something over periods of time. If I don't finish today, I could continue my castle tomorrow, and if I'm not done, I could continue it on to the next day. It really allows for an evolved play. It's not just simple, build a castle, break it down. It's, I'm building a castle, now I've added a moat. Now I have other tools or animals or characters coming in. So it's something that if you have this space, I suggest you do, because it helps kids really persist, which is one of our objectives, and it also helps kids have multi-day play, and it's really important. We don't want our kids to have a short attention span and then just play within the first 10 minutes, throw everything back, and then go. In our block center, we have train tracks, trains, street signs. We have wooden blocks, which are really important for them to build. We have jumbo puzzles, wooden cars for more dramatic play. We have 3D shapes, because as you know, not all buildings are just flat. And we have books about building and about the community. It helps kids visualize more ideas of things that they could build or things that they could pretend play. And I think it's really important that you always have books about the block or about the center at each center. Thank you.
When children play with blocks, there are no scripts and no rehearsing. They can have limitless play, all based upon their imagination. Fine motor skills are the coordination of small muscles, along with hand-eye coordination. Children develop and use fine motor skills over time with activities that include picking up things and handling precise activities using muscles that control the hand, the fingers, and thumb. All of this movement is great for small muscles. Patterns and the movements relating to the skill development are happening all the time in the blocks area. As children reach and kneel and handle the blocks, they are strengthening their large muscles. Parallel play is when two children are seated side by side, playing with the same types of blocks and yet building on their own. And this type of behavior is frequently seen in the block area. This is important behavior, and it can be seen as modeling. Children get ideas from one another without working directly together. Have you ever seen a child kind of working on their blocks and then looking over to see what that person's doing, and oh, they put a flag on the top of their castle, let me do that too. So all the time, children are working together, they're engaging in mental planning, problem solving, both which are important skills to have and carry forward in life. So these can be seen as cognitive skills. Children strengthen cognitive skills because they need to understand ratios, and as they're building different structures, making sure that those blocks are stable and don't tumble over. Applying reasoning skills, including cause and effect, children learn tactics that will work, and then they find out what won't work. They interact with each other if the space is big enough for more than one child to participate in the block building project. And as children work together, they develop vocabulary skills as well as social skills in order to cooperate with each other. As a teacher, I would advise you to be careful not to direct the play of the students, but be active observers, allowing the children to process their own creative processes. What a teacher can do is instigate a little bit. So if you have a theme that's happening and the theme is all about medieval knights, maybe you can put pictures up of castles and things that you have the materials for children to possibly be able to build. So they can start somewhere. But you never want to tell the children that they absolutely have to do something like that. That's up to them to determine what they want to do with their imagination.
Doesn't really have a theme, it's just the kitchen area. So here you can see some of the dress-up clothes that are in my Dramatic Play Center, and I obviously don't have any fancy dress-up stand. I don't think it's necessary. I just stuck some 3M hooks on the back of the cabinet that was in the Dramatic Play area. Here are the dishes, the plates, silverware, all that stuff in my Dramatic Play Center. As you can see here, I just keep them all in a tub. I think that it really helps make your cleanup quick and easy. So all dishes and pots and pans and silverware and cups, they all go into the tub. So here's the play food in my Dramatic Play Center. I keep this all in a basket. So if there's too much food to fit in the basket, then that food won't go out, because if they get more than what can fit in there, that's probably too much to have in the Dramatic Play Center. So I just have a little bit of food in the basket. And again, it's the same as with the dishes. All the food goes in the basket gets labeled, and the shelf gets labeled. So all the food goes in there and then goes on the shelf when it's time to put the food away. Books are a really important part of any Dramatic Play Center. Here you can see some of the ones that I keep in my Dramatic Play Center. I keep them in a tub or a basket, and I place that basket near with a baby doll bed. Another great resource for the Dramatic Play Center are cookbooks. I found this one at a garage sale for $1. It has absolutely gorgeous, full color, full page photos of food and recipes inside, as you can see here, and the kids absolutely love opening the cookbook to a page and pretending to make whatever they see. And when they're doing this, they're actually pretending to read the text on the page. They're developing all sorts of concepts of print, and it's just a wonderful thing. And instead of just dumping the food on the plate and pretending to eat it, now they're actually engaged in creating a culinary masterpiece.
To be or not to be? That, my dear, is the question. Play is a very important part of children's development. When children have the opportunity to participate in dramatic play, you never know what scenarios will emerge. If a child is alone in a dramatic play area, this is considered solitary play. The child will only need to create their own conversations and keep whatever scenario they have in their mind going by themselves. And children enjoy learning all about the world by given the opportunity to try on different roles. They act out what they've seen or what they want to be. There may also be children who enjoy being observers. They just want to sit back for a minute and look at everybody. And this means that this behavior is frequently seen for children who are a little bit shy or younger. And so teachers shouldn't feel as if they need to pressure a child who is rather observational versus someone who wants to just jump in there and play. Just like you and I, there are different personality types out there, and don't be surprised if your children are showing you their different personality types. Within the Dramatic Play Center, children develop negotiation skills as well as communication skills. One child could suggest a place scenario, and the other child could choose which character they want to play during the day's adventure. Beyond this, they have the opportunity to understand what different characters do. Teachers who are observing children in this area can ask questions and help the child deepen their understanding on different roles, which may be in the dramatic play area. If you are a center that has dual language learners, remember the dramatic play area is a great opportunity to learn how a child views different pieces of the dramatic play area in their own language. So, for instance, if you had in the dramatic play area a food setup, and if the child is saying, let's have breakfast, and they bring out a plate with pizza on it, well, typically in a Western culture, we don't see pizza as being breakfast. Not necessarily. But if a child is sharing that breakfast means pizza for them, then that's a view for you, teacher, to see inside of their culture and to also introduce other great things that could be a part of other people's culture. You see, you have a lot of leverage in the dramatic play area, but the key is to allow the child to lead.
Heat changes things. Who can tell me what we talked about yesterday, our experiment we did? Yes, sir.
Ice cream.
We made ice cream. So did we add heat or do we add cold?
Cold.
We added cold. And can you tell me what happened to the milk when we added cold?
It turned into ice cream.
So the milk changed into...
Ice cream.
Ah, well today while you guys were in specials, Mr. Rogers took some eggs and I put them in a bowl of boiling hot water, okay? These were very, very hot. I'm gonna let you touch this real quick. It's still pretty hot. I want you to feel that I've added heat to it, okay? So very gently, grab it, feel it, and pass. Be very careful with the egg, please. Pass. So, did the egg feel warm? Yes, the egg is warm. I added heat. Okay, I predict. And in your head, I want you to think, how did this egg change when you added heat? Ready?
I predict it was gonna go hard.
So you predict it gets hard when I...
Adding puzzles, math, and manipulatives is common in Montessori because this type of center really effectively prepares children for higher mathematical problem solving and reasoning. Manipulatives are great for helping a child with that hand-eye coordination activity that we've been discussing, as well as developing the gross motor skills. So using manipulatives can help a child learn how to count and even how to add, subtract, and multiply numbers. Can you believe that? Helping keep things organized is key when it comes to this station. I've seen teachers take the board puzzles and turn them over and take a permanent marker and, if there are 8 pieces, they will label, piece 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if they have several of these boards, maybe they will, for the first board, they will do an A1, an A2, an A3. And then for the second puzzle, they'll do a B1, B2, B3, things like that, just to keep your center in order. There's nothing worse than having a board puzzle area and the pieces are missing. Consider which components you leave out for the children to play with in a self-directed manner, because there's sometimes when you want to limit the choices to make sure that children have a manipulatives area, because too many selections will cause them to be overstimulated and not know which one to choose, and then they start using the actual puzzle pieces like they're blocks that you're going to stack up together. And it's a great way to be creative, don't get me wrong, but when you're thinking about this area, you really want to help them develop those cognitive reasoning, problem-solving skills that come inside of this manipulatives area. Now, depending on the size of the puzzle pieces, children could be developing gross motor skills and some of those larger range of motion skills. There are some puzzles that have the little div raised area where, you can just kind of put them into place. I wish I had an example for you, but they have little bitty handles so that children can pick them up and move them around. Well, those handles are kind of intentional to help them with those grasping and those pinching sort of skills that they need to learn how to develop. So depending on that size, you're going to get different types of skills that you're helping the child develop from a physical perspective. In other cases, children can work as a team to increase interactivity and collaboration. Now, this helps them develop their social skills as well as increasing their vocabulary. So I've seen also a really cool exercise where if you have a puzzle that has 15 pieces, you can take 3 children and position them around the puzzle and then kind of divvy those pieces out to each child. So they each have 5 pieces. And you can say, okay, we're going to let you go first to see if your piece fits. And then you go second to see if your piece fits. And this is really cool if you have those sort of interlocking pieces that have shapes around them so that a child can identify, oh, this is a circle shape and there's a circle hole in the puzzle area, so I know that it's my piece that's going in that location. So this is really cool for children to, 1, learn how to take turns, 2, develop those reasoning skills and those problem-solving skills, and 3, just have plain old fun.
So it needs to be a quieter section of the classroom, and it is completely on the other side of the room as the loud section. So it's very rare that we have to stop children or that children from the quiet section need to come over and ask for something because we're so far away they just get tired and move on. So the first center in the quiet section is the computer table. We have one desktop computer and students have headphones, super quiet. The teacher is here in case she needs to set a timer to share the computer or in case she needs to problem solve. And so the computer center, we have the teacher section. This is where the bulk of small group instruction happens. It's clutter-free. I believe that students really need to focus during small group, and so if you have a bunch of things lying around, they're going to naturally try to gravitate to the touch and play with them. So we try to keep the center clean and clear. Small group table, 4 chairs, but we have accessibility of getting other chairs in the case that we need to make our group bigger. Right next to the teacher small group section, we have the writing center. I really like the center because I feel like it really focuses not only on writing, but on fine motor skills and drawing, which are very important in pre-K and K for students to acquire before being writers and authors. Our tool organizer has everything students would need for writing: envelopes, white paper, story paper, construction paper. We have games, stampers, chalk. We have little etch-a-sketches. We have file folders and letter games. To the writing center, we have library, And library, of course, is the most quiet center of all. Unless kids are excited or listening to a story. The library center, we try to make it cozy. Couch, magazines for sharing and writing, headphones for story time, and writing notebooks. Students are able to write in their notebooks both in writing and at library. We have our books neatly organized in a basket, and they have a CD or cassette, so everything is in its bag.
Within a preschool setting, children aren't necessarily readers yet. The idea is to help them develop a love and appreciation for reading. And you can begin this by making an appealing visual reading area. This means creating posters that go on the wall, which match the themes of the books in your collection. Then you can organize your books in the bins. These bins should be based upon reading level. For instance, for infants and 1-year-olds, you may have pressed board books or those plastic wipe-off books. But for the older children, they could have the regular books where they're going to turn the pages. It's really important for children to handle physical books and be able to understand that these are words on a page, and this is how you properly read the book and handle the book. You want to create an inviting area where children can sit down and read quietly. Now, for most of us, reading is sort of a really quiet task that we want to do. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get excited about what you're reading and put emphasis in the words when you're reading the words, but typically when you're trying to read, you're developing this cognitive skill where the words that you're reading are being visualized in your mind. And if it's a good author, they can actually make a book come to life. I hope you've been able to experience that one time or two. But children need to be able to sit in small furniture made just for them, or just by having comfortable places to sit on the floor and read their book. Now, there are a list of things that you can set up here for your children, but consider using props such as bean bags and large pillows to help the child feel more comfortable while they're reading. If you decide to pair children up to read together, this might be helpful, especially if one child reads better than the other child. And then children can take turns and finish reading a whole book. Now, sometimes children want to read independently, and you might see that they're kind of flipping through the book, but they're not really reading the book. That's okay. Sometimes picture books are really cool for younger aged children because they realize there is a story happening between one picture and the next. And children get an opportunity to interpret what they're seeing. So again, if you have a dual language learner and you see maybe a duck on a page that has tears in his eyes and he's very, very sad, this is a way for you to help a child understand emotion and words that they can put to those pictures. And in the future, one of the keys to knowing that your child is ready for kindergarten is being able to have that self-control, being able to put a name to feelings. All that you're doing in your reading area is going to contribute to that. So if you plan to incorporate audiobooks into your library, you will need a stationary table with audio supplies. So that just means headphones that go over the child's ear. I have seen that some centers are kind of adopting AirPod technology and the types of headphones that go inside of the child's ears. And I'll just warn against that because sounds could really be detrimental and really destroy hearing. So if you're going to have the over-the-ear headphones, that might be a better option. They actually sell headphones expressly for children, and the decibel of the sound is not harming a child's hearing at all. So definitely check that out if you decide to put some auditory books in your library area. But whatever you decide to do, Make it fun, make it appealing, and be sure that you set your children up to love reading, because we know that beginning school, children are learning to read. And all the way up to the third grade, they kind of say children are learning to read. But after that third grade period, they're reading to learn. So, as much as you can do to help a child get ready for their future, you're contributing really great things to their success. And I hope you keep going.
Is the Art Center. Accessibility, location, and noise. It's a little bit quieter than blocks, right? But it's still an exciting center, so we decided to keep it in the middle. Sometimes you get the loud days, so it's going to be loud and it'll be near the blocks, and sometimes you get the quiet days, so it's okay if it's near the teacher's table. In this center, we wanted to make sure that we had 3D materials as well as paper, pencils, crayons, and a place to display student work. So as we start on the left here, we have see-through containers with a label that is both pictorial and has words. Super easy. If you have see-through containers, kids know what you have, and kids can specifically then go and look for whatever they need from that container. Way easier than having cubbies that are closed off where kids need to dig out, go through things, and then you end up having a big mess at the end of the day. So this is super easy. I suggest that if you have the opportunity to get see-through containers, even if you have to save pickle jars and peanut butter jars, it's just so much easier. And in the end, it's going to make your life a lot better if you're not doing cleanup at the end of the day. So we have 3D art pieces, popsicle sticks, buttons, 3D shapes, Q-tips, cotton balls, and feathers. Nothing super elaborate, simple things that you have around the house that parents could donate or that you could get at the dollar store and they won't really put you in the poorhouse. And then below we have smaller containers. These are not see-through, but as you can see, we have the pictorial as well as the word label, so it's really easy for kids to know what's there. And once they know the lay of the land, they know what they want, they go get it, and they put it back. Super easy. We have colored cotton balls, yarn, felt pieces, small beads, sequins, coffee filters, googly eyes, stickers, pipe cleaners, plates, and foam letters, foam numbers, and foam shapes.
Got cold in here all of a sudden. Okay, 3D, 2D creative arts. Great. We're at the last center that I want to talk to you about today. This is such a fun place to be. You know, it just looks weird to see pipe cleaners and all these different supplies out there. And it really makes children look at it and say, what am I going to do in that center? Creating art can be something that a child can take home, or remember, it can be used to decorate the center. Art can be traditional drawings or paintings using various techniques, or it could be classified as 3D when the objects are creating sculptures or pasting objects into a page in order to create a new design. So if you do have those pipe cleaners and you allow the child to, tape them to a page, so using little bitty pieces of tape, it seems like it would be nerve-wracking, but remember, tape is a way for a child to develop those skills again, those fine motor skills, as they cut with scissors, try to get their supplies together, make things stick on the page. And when they have the opportunity to hold crayons and pencils and pens, they continue to learn dexterity. So I wanted to just kind of take that moment to interject something personal about me. I'm a left-handed person, and I wish that my teacher had have thought about, Wanda Jean is holding her pencil with her left hand. And to this day, do you know that I have to turn I don't have to, but I've learned to turn my paper almost upside down in order to write on it. Are there any other lefties out there that turn their paper or position my hand in an awkward sort of non-ergonomically correct way? So I'm going to move this back off my wrist. but when I'm holding my pencil, I kind of hold it and write this way. I still get it written. I have great handwriting, but I had to learn how to augment my hand based upon the teacher giving me a spiral that's on the left-hand side of the page, which stops me from, being able to position my hand there. So the bottom of my hand would constantly hit that spiral. And so it would be great if my teacher had to say, wow, she's really struggling there, and to get me a pad of paper that opens up from the top or that connects at the top. So think about a steno notepad, how that kind of spirals at the top versus on the side. So that might help your child feel a little more comfortable in writing activities, and help their dexterity when they're learning how to write. Just a little tip from the lefty on board. So you can also give children things like yarns and fabrics to be creative in this area. Remember, the sky's the limit, especially for this 2D, 3D art. And it's so interesting to see how children will interpret things. So if we're talking about music and you asked a child if they would like to create a picture about music, what will they come up with? I bet you'll be surprised to see the level of creativity that children come up with. And there was a place where I saw that little boys, like, if all the music was put together, they usually tend to go towards a drum set. It just happens to be the loudest sort of instrument, or it can be one of the loudest instruments in a band. And all the little boys would be thinking about how they could do drums and play the drums. So you might see a little bit of that in this center as well. But really, try to focus the children on creating things and helping them start a project and complete a project in this area, which is also cognitive problem solving and really help them deepen their appreciation for art. Also, I would say hanging the art up on the walls and say, Wanda Jean made this art project and she is our artist of the week. And that is such a great thing to help boost the self-esteem of your children. And also, when parents and families come into the center, they can see that you're celebrating their child, and they can get celebrated at home as well. And parents feel good. I mean, what parent or family member wouldn't feel good to have their loved one celebrated? If you are sending updates home to mom or dad or grandma or whoever the caregiver might be, then taking a picture of something their child did at daycare is very, very encouraging for them. So make sure you really leverage everything that comes out of this center and continuing to help your children learn about loving art, but also learn about creating things for themselves and with others.